This week, we're talking about Montaigne and his irrefutable contributions not only to science and empiricism as a field in general, but also to psychology later down the line. Even though it wasn't technically a science then, we definitely see the steps that he took here helped us become a science and helped us start asking questions that were more directly related to our field. Jordan mentioned that Montaigne was really big on education and education for all, and especially children. He didn't think that children just needed to be taught facts. They were taught to question, and he also didn't think that children should be punished physically, and that's really interesting, especially at this time. That's definitely against the norm. So we see that in all aspects of life, even in home life, he was definitely going against the norm and not just sticking with what people had done in the past. So that was really interesting that he definitely didn't really pick and choose his battles. He was a rebel in all fronts, and that is probably something that rallied a lot of support for him, and also a lot of opposition as well. One of his most important skepticisms was between the church. This was a time where the schism had happened and the Catholics and the Protestants were fighting. They both thought that they knew the absolute truth, and Montaigne kind of stepped back and said, I don't know if either of you know the absolute truth. I don't know if any of us do. Show me the proof. So there again, he was looking for hard evidence and then furthering the impact of empiricism. So that was really important for him. I think that he made contributions just again in teaching us not to be so smug, which is a quote that we heard again, because he thought that humans basically believe too easily and also think that we're the top of the food chain, we're the best that there is. He didn't think that we're any better than animals, which is basically anti-humanistic, which is really interesting at this time because it kind of makes you take a step back and think that, maybe I'm not as great or as educated or as all-knowing as I think I am, and that's a really vulnerable place to be. So I think that it's really interesting that he was willing to do that. It reminds me a lot of Socrates too, to say, I don't know as much as I would like to. Maybe there's some things I'll never know. I think that vulnerability is really important in a teacher and in somebody who wants others to ask questions, because it helps his students and people around him not be so afraid to ask questions and not be afraid of not knowing. So he definitely made really awesome contributions in all fronts, and I think that the field of psychology and science in general is better because of him.